Leaving Santo Domingo and heading west for about 30 kilometers, one reaches a town by the name of San Cristobal. That has approximately 30,000 inhabitants. This is where Trujillo was born, and in 1844 this was where the first Dominican Constitution was written down and signed. Continuing to drive, one comes across quite a number of unpopulated regions. That is rather abnormal for the Dominican Republic. The average street on this island has lots of houses built alongside. The southwest is the only region where one can drive 20 kilometers without ever seeing a house. This has to do with the shortage of water in large parts of this area. Houses usually appear built together around an oasis in the middle of a barren area. Right before La Descubierta, there are Taino traces to be found. Between 1000 and 2000 BC, the Arawak Indians that lived in South America explored the oceans in their boats in search of good fishing grounds. This was how they made it all the way to the Caribbean and decided to settle here. Except for a few attacks from the Caribs, who were supposed to have been cannibals, they lived happy and peaceful lives until the Spaniards came. In 1492, when Columbus disembarked in Hispaniola, there were supposedly already about 1 million Tainos living in well-functioning community systems. The chiefs, called caciques, wore tokens of power in the form of golden chains and armbands. When the Spaniards came, this gold aroused deep greed in them, and the Indians were doomed. The Tainos were enslaved and had to work the sugarcane fields. Less than 100 years later, there was not a single one left. At last we get to La Descubierta. About 200 meters away from the shore, there is a sulfur well that has been transformed into a pool. The Enriquillo Lake. This saltwater lake is 300 square kilometers in size and lays about 44 meters under sea level. For about 800 pesos, the local captain will take visitors to the island in the middle of this lake. This deserted island, by the name of Isla Cabritos, is a wildlife preserve and measures about 24 square kilometers. In order to set foot on this island, one has to go through the trouble of obtaining a permit. Declaring the island a wildlife preserve had a lot to do with the fact that it is inhabited by about 250 saltwater crocodiles. They are the only big predators on the island. There are also rhinoceros iguanas living here. These herbivores can grow as long as 1.5 meters and live as families. They live in their own caves, but spend their whole lifetime as a couple and pay each other mutual visits at night. The unbearable heat on this island makes a long visit impossible. The temperature here often reaches up to 60 Celsius. The ground on this island is a mix of coral stones and sand and has very little vegetation, mostly cactuses and dry bush. With these images, we'd like to say goodbye, and we hope you've enjoyed